What if I told you the deadliest moment in your life will most likely happen between 3 and 6 in the morning, in your own bed while everyone around you sleeps? Every year in the United States, 795,000 Americans suffer a stroke. The vast majority are over 60. A startling number, far more than the public realizes, strike during sleep, in people who went to bed feeling completely fine. No chest pain, no warning, just a silent unraveling that begins hours after the lights go out. What is more disturbing is this. In the vast majority of these cases, the cause was not bad luck, bad genetics, or random misfortune. The cause was something the person did every single night, year after year, believing it was harmless. Sometimes believing it was actually healthy. My name is Dr. Thomas, and I've spent more than 2 decades treating older Americans for the kind of strokes that arrive in the dark. In the next few minutes, I'll walk you through the most dangerous nighttime habits after 60 and give you the exact changes you can make starting tonight to dramatically lower your risk. If you are over 60, the next 10 minutes could literally save your life. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Habit number 1. Lying down too soon after taking OTC sleep aids. Walk into any Walmart, any CVS, any Walgreens in America tonight, and you'll find an entire aisle dedicated to helping you sleep. No prescription, no doctor, just a friendly blue or purple box promising you a peaceful night. And millions of older Americans reach for one of these every single evening, completely unaware that the active ingredient inside has been on a medical warning list for more than a decade. I'm talking about diphenhydramine, the drug in Benadryl, Tylenol PM, Advil PM, Zizquil, and most store-brand sleep aids. I'm also talking about doxylamine, found in Unisom and NyQuil. The American Geriatric Society placed both of these compounds on what's called the Beers list, a formal warning that they should not be used in adults over 65. Most people have never even heard of it. Here's what actually happens inside your body when you take one of these pills and lie down. The drug is powerfully anticholinergic, which means it blocks a key chemical messenger your nervous system uses to regulate heart rhythm, saliva, and blood vessel tone. In a younger person, the effect fades within a few hours. After 60, it can linger for 10, 12, sometimes 14 hours. During that window, your mouth and airways dry out, your blood loses water and grows thicker, your heart rhythm becomes irregular, and your blood pressure loses its natural nighttime dip. It stays elevated straight through the most dangerous hours of the morning, between 3 and 6. That is precisely when most strokes happen. A long-term study from Indiana University followed older adults using these sleep aids for 3 or more years and found measurable increases in stroke risk, cognitive decline, and dementia. This is not fringe research. It is mainstream geriatric medicine. It just hasn't made it to the evening news. So here is what to do, starting tonight. Open your medicine cabinet and read the label on every nighttime product in there. If you see diphenhydramine, doxylamine, or the letters PM after a familiar brand name, set the box aside. Tomorrow morning, call your pharmacist. Not the doctor, the pharmacist, because they have time and they know the Beers list by heart. Ask about magnesium glycinate at 200 to 300 milligrams or L-theanine. Both calm the nervous system without the cardiovascular consequences, and both sit on the same shelf for roughly the same price. And whatever you do, never combine a PM-style sleep aid with a blood thinner or a blood pressure pill. That combination has ended lives in this country, quietly, in the early morning hours, in beds that looked perfectly ordinary the night before. Removing a dangerous bottle from your nightstand is one battle won. But there is something else slipping into your body every single night that no pill, even a safe one, can fix. And most seniors don't realize the door has been wide open the entire time. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. Habit number 2. Untreated sleep apnea, the silent stroke factory. Ask anyone who shares a bed with an older snorer what frightens them most, And they won't say it's the noise. They'll say it's the silence. The moment the snoring stops, that 10, 15, sometimes 30 seconds of complete quiet before a loud gasp drags the room back to life. That silence is the sound of something genuinely dangerous happening inside the person lying next to them. It's called obstructive sleep apnea. Roughly 30 million Americans have it, and 80% are undiagnosed. After 60, the soft tissues in the back of your throat lose tone. When your muscles relax in sleep, those tissues collapse inward and seal off your airway. Air stops moving. Oxygen in your blood drops. Your brain panics and floods your system with adrenaline to force a gasp. Your heart races. Your blood pressure spikes 30, sometimes 50 points. In a moderate case, this happens 15 to 30 times an hour. In severe cases, more than 30, sometimes 300 episodes in a single night that the sleeper does not remember. The American Heart Association now formally recognizes untreated sleep apnea as a major risk factor for stroke. Research in the journal Stroke shows it raises stroke risk in older adults by 2 to 4 times. Every one of those overnight blood pressure spikes is a tiny battering ram against the walls of your brain arteries. Do that for a decade, and the wall eventually gives way. The warning signs are easy to miss because they hide as ordinary aging. You wake up with a dull headache, your mouth is bone dry, you feel exhausted by mid-afternoon no matter how long you slept. Your blood pressure stops responding well to medication. If any of that sounds familiar, here's what to do this week. Call your doctor and ask for a home sleep test, the HSAT. Medicare covers it. You don't have to spend a night in a lab. They mail you a small finger sensor and a chest strap, and you sleep in your own bed for 1 or 2 nights. The results come back in under a week. If you sleep alone, download an app called Snoring on your phone and let it record one night. The breathing pauses show up clearly on the graph. And if you are diagnosed, please buy the CPAP. Nearly half of patients prescribed one quit using it within the first year. Don't be in that half. It is hands down the most life-saving piece of equipment in modern geriatric medicine. Fixing what happens in your throat while you sleep is enormous progress. But something else is happening in your blood every single night, long before you ever close your eyes. And most seniors are causing it on purpose, completely convinced it's the smart thing to do. Habit number 3, going to bed with a high evening sodium load. It isn't the salt shaker on your kitchen table that's quietly killing seniors in this country. It's what's already hidden inside the can, the box, and the takeout carton. And the most dangerous portion of it is the part you eat after sundown. Most people focus on how much sodium they eat across a whole day. That matters, but for stroke risk in adults over 60, what matters even more is when you eat it. A single bowl of canned chicken noodle soup at 7 p.m. delivers around 1,800 milligrams of sodium, more than the American Heart Association's entire daily limit. A Stouffer's or Marie Callender's frozen entree pushes 1,200. A few slices of pepperoni pizza at 8 p.m. easily clear 2,000. Your body absorbs all of it within 90 minutes and carries it straight into the night. Here's what nobody explains. Sodium pulls water into your bloodstream and raises your blood volume. Your kidneys, which slow significantly after 60, can't flush the excess fast enough. By the time you're in deep sleep, your blood pressure is creeping up instead of dipping the way it should. Then comes the danger window, between 3 and 6 a.m., when natural cortisol rises and triggers the morning blood pressure surge. With a sodium-loaded dinner still in your system, that surge climbs 15 to 25 points higher than normal, enough to rupture a vulnerable plaque or push a clot straight into a cerebral artery. A Harvard study in the Journal of Hypertension followed older adults for 6 years and found that those who consumed most of their daily sodium after 6 p.m. had measurably higher rates of nocturnal hypertension and significantly more strokes. So here is the rule that protects you starting tonight. After 6 p.m., keep your sodium intake under 500 milligrams, about 1/5 of a Campbell's soup can, half a lean cuisine entree, or 2 slices of standard deli ham. Read the label on every package you reach for after dinner. The numbers will shock you. Replace your salt shaker with Mrs. Dash or any salt-free seasoning blend. $3 at any grocery store and your food will still taste like food. Snack on unsalted almonds, a banana, or fresh berries instead of pretzels and chips. If you eat out, treat the meal as a medical event. Order grilled, ask for every sauce on the side, and never let soup be your last meal of the day. Restaurant entrees average 2,400 milligrams of sodium. Chinese and Italian dinners often double that in a single sitting. You can change what's on your plate, you can change what's in your medicine cabinet. But something is happening silently inside your blood vessels every night that has nothing to do with food, medication, or sleep apnea. It traces back to something millions of seniors deliberately do on purpose, convinced it's the wise, sensible thing. Habit number 4, the dehydration trap before sleep. It's water, the very thing you've stopped drinking at night on purpose, for the most sensible reason in the world. So you don't have to stumble to the bathroom at 2 a.m. That single well-intentioned habit is one of the most overlooked stroke risks in older adults, and it works against you in ways no one bothers to explain. After about age 60, 2 things change inside your body that almost nobody tells you about. First, your thirst signal weakens dramatically. University of Connecticut researchers have found that older adults can be measurably dehydrated and not feel thirsty at all. Second, your kidneys become less efficient at concentrating urine, so you're losing water steadily through the day and into the night without realizing it. By the time you crawl into bed, many seniors are already running low. Over the next 8 hours, your body keeps losing water, through every breath you exhale, through ordinary perspiration. By 4 a.m., your blood is more concentrated than at any other point in the 24-hour cycle. Hematocrit climbs, viscosity thickens. Think of the difference between water flowing through a garden hose and honey trying to push through the same hose. That's what your brain arteries are working against in the early morning, exactly when cortisol rises and blood pressure surges. This is the moment cerebral clots form. A study in the American Journal of Epidemiology found that mild evening dehydration in seniors produces blood viscosity comparable to readings taken right before an ischemic stroke. Now, the fix is not to chug a quart of water before bed. That just sends you to the bathroom 3 times and ruins your sleep. The right approach is precise. About 90 minutes before bed, drink an 8-ounce glass of water with a small pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon. That trace of sodium and potassium helps your body actually hold on to the water through the night without flooding your bladder. Empty your bladder fully right before lying down. Keep a small bottle of water on the nightstand and take 2 or 3 sips if you wake between 2 and 5 a.m. Those sips alone can drop blood viscosity into a safer range within minutes. At dinner, build in water-rich foods: a cucumber salad, half a cup of cantaloupe or watermelon, a bowl of low-sodium broth-based soup. They hydrate you quietly without requiring another glass at the sink. You've now learned to feed your body the right things at night, breathe through it, and keep your blood thin enough to flow. But one threat remains that no diet, no medication, and no glass of water can fix. And it lives in a very specific place on your body, in a position you settle into every single night without giving it a second thought. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 5. Habit number 5, sleeping with your neck in a stroke-vulnerable position. There's a pillow in your house that you love. You've had it for 10, 15, maybe 20 years. It's perfectly molded to your head, and every night for the better part of 8 hours, it may be doing something to your neck that no doctor has ever warned you about. Run your fingertips along either side of your throat, just below the jaw. You feel a steady pulse. That's your carotid artery, one of the 4 main vessels carrying blood up to your brain. After 60, most Americans have some degree of plaque buildup or stiffening in these vessels, often without ever being told. The plaque doesn't have to be large to be dangerous. It only needs to be in the wrong place at the wrong moment. Now consider what happens when you sleep with your neck twisted to one side, your chin tucked into your chest, or your head propped on a thick pillow. Studies measuring cerebral blood flow have shown that certain sleep positions reduce the amount of blood reaching the brain by 30 to 40%. In a young adult, this is harmless. In a senior with moderate carotid plaque, it does 2 dangerous things. It compresses the artery wall against the plaque, and over the course of the night, it can shear that plaque loose. The fragment travels upward into a smaller cerebral artery and lodges there. The result is an ischemic stroke, often discovered the moment you try to get out of bed. There is a name for this in medical literature: beauty parlor stroke syndrome, first described in older patients whose necks were hyperextended over salon sinks during long shampoos. The same mechanism plays out in your bed every night for years. Here's what to do this week. Replace your old pillow with one that keeps your neck aligned with your spine. Not lifted, not tilted. A medium-height, contoured cervical pillow under $30 at any drugstore will do the job. If you sleep on your side, the pillow should fill the gap between your shoulder and your ear, no higher. Never sleep with your arm tucked under your head. That compresses the carotid and brachial arteries for hours. The safest position for most seniors is the left side, which also eases strain on the heart. If you tend to roll onto your back during the night, place a small body pillow behind you to keep you in place. If you're over 65 and have never had a carotid ultrasound, ask your doctor for one at your next visit. Medicare covers it for anyone with high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, or a family history of stroke. 10 painless minutes and it tells you exactly what's hiding in those vessels before they have a chance to tell you the hard way. You've now protected your throat, your blood, and your arteries. But the next habit isn't about your body at all. It's about the loop of thoughts running inside your head every evening, and it may be doing more damage than anything we've covered so far. Evening chronic stress and uncontrolled cortisol. The most damaging thing you can put inside your body before bed isn't food, alcohol, or medication. It is a thought. A specific kind of thought, one that loops, replays, and builds in your chest as you lie staring at the dark ceiling. For adults after 60, that single category of nighttime worry can damage your brain arteries more than almost anything else. Here's why. When you feel emotional stress at night, the late news, money worry, a replayed argument, your adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline. In small daytime doses, useful. At night, catastrophic. They keep the cardiovascular system on alert and prevent the nocturnal dip, the natural 10 to 20% drop in blood pressure that should happen during sleep. Without it, your arteries get no repair time. After 60, your body's ability to regulate cortisol is already cut by roughly 40%. An hour of evening worry damages a senior's arteries far more than the same hour in a 40-year-old. A 20-year study by Johns Hopkins and the American Heart Association found that older adults with chronic evening stress had up to a 72% higher lifetime risk of fatal cardiovascular events. Here's what to do tonight. Set a news curfew. No politics, no crime stories after 8 p.m. Replace it with a familiar movie or a PBS nature program. 30 minutes before bed, write down 3 things that went well today. Berkeley research shows this lowers cortisol within 20 minutes. Then 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale 4, hold 7, exhale 8. 5 cycles is enough. Consider 200 to 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate. It calms the nervous system and relaxes blood vessel walls. You've now learned to feed, breathe, position, and calm your body for sleep. But one silent threat remains. And unlike the others, it happens inside your heart itself, in a rhythm so quiet you won't feel it forming the very clot that could end your independence. Ignoring nighttime heart rhythm changes. Silent AFib. Of the 795,000 strokes that happen in this country every year, about 1 in 7 is launched not from your arteries, not from your blood, but from inside a chamber of your own heart. The mechanism is called atrial fibrillation, or AFib, and the most dangerous version visits quietly in the middle of the night while you sleep. After 65, 1 in 10 Americans has AFib. After 80, 1 in 4. Most of them have no idea. The heart's upper chambers quiver instead of beating in clean rhythm. Blood pools in the corner of the left atrium. Within hours, a clot can form there. And during the early morning blood pressure surge, that clot launches upward into a cerebral artery. The result is one of the most devastating strokes we see in geriatric medicine. Here's what nobody tells you about AFib. It often triggers at night when your heart rate slows and the vagus nerve takes over. A pattern called vagally mediated AFib. You may be in an episode for an hour every single night and never feel a thing. Here is what to do this week. Place 2 fingers on the inside of your wrist before bed and count your pulse for a full 60 seconds. If it skips, races, or feels chaotic, call your doctor first thing in the morning. Better still, use a cardio mobile device, an Apple Watch, or a Fitbit with an ECG feature. They detect AFib silently in the background, sometimes for weeks before you'd ever notice. If you're diagnosed, never skip your anticoagulant. Eliquis, Xarelto, or warfarin cut stroke risk by roughly 70%. That single pill is the difference between waking up at home tomorrow and waking up in a rehab ward. You've now protected almost every system in your body during sleep. But there is one final risk, and it is not what you do before bed. It is what you do in the first 30 seconds after you open your eyes. The 30-second morning kill zone. Here is the truth no one tells you. Most seniors don't die in their sleep. They die in the 30 seconds after they wake up. The deadliest moment in a senior's day is not midnight, not 3 a.m. It's the instant you swing your legs over the edge of the bed. Why? Three things collide at once. First, your blood pressure has been climbing since 4 a.m., the natural cortisol-driven morning surge. Second, your bladder is full and your body is bracing for a Valsalva maneuver, a forceful exhale that spikes pressure even further. Third, your feet hit a cold floor and your vessels constrict to protect your core. Stand up too quickly and gravity drains blood from your brain. Together, these forces can spike your blood pressure 40 points in under 10 seconds. Exactly enough to dislodge a fragile plaque or send a clot already formed during sleep straight into a cerebral artery. Almost every nighttime stroke in older Americans actually happens in this window. It looks like dying during sleep. It isn't. Here is the rule that protects you starting tomorrow morning. I call it the 60-30-10 rule. Sit on the edge of the bed for 60 full seconds before you stand. Then stand and hold still for 30 seconds with one hand on the bedpost. Then walk your first 10 steps slowly, deliberately, like you're testing thin ice. Keep slippers right at the bedside so your feet hit warmth, not cold. Plug in a small nightlight. When you reach the bathroom, sit to urinate. It eliminates the Valsalva strain. And before you stand at all, take 2 small sips of water from the bottle on your nightstand. Those sips alone thin your morning blood within minutes. This is the single most life-saving habit in this entire video. Practice it tomorrow. But even with every habit corrected, sometimes the damage has already been done in the dark. Next, you need to learn how to recognize a stroke that happened while you were sleeping, before another minute of your life slips away. Important warning. Before we close, one critical warning. Sometimes a small stroke happens during the night and disappears before morning, a TIA or transient ischemic attack. It is the warning shot before the real one. Learn to recognize the signs. Use the acronym BE FAST. B. Balance, sudden dizziness when you rise. E. Eyes, blurred or double vision. F. Face, one side drooping when you smile in the mirror. A. Arms, one weaker than the other when you raise them. S. Speech, slurred or wrong words. T. Time, call 911 immediately. 4 nighttime specific signs most seniors miss the morning after. A pillow soaked in sweat with no fever, a one-sided headache with mild nausea, numbness or tingling in one hand or foot, sudden clumsiness with buttons or a coffee cup. If any of these appear, call 911. Do not drive yourself. Time is brain. Every minute costs nearly 2 million neurons. 5 years from tonight. After 60, the body is not the same machine it was at 40. It is more graceful in some ways, more fragile in others. The damage done at night does not announce itself. It accumulates, quietly, plaque by plaque, beat by beat, week by week. By the time the body sends a clear warning, the warning is often the event itself. This is the truth that doesn't fit into a 15-minute appointment. 5 years from now, you will either be the person whose habits compounded into damage or the person whose small, consistent choices compounded into protection. Both versions of you already exist, alive in the decisions you make tonight. The medicine isn't in a bottle. It's in a single choice, repeated quietly every evening, for as long as you intend to live a life that is still your own. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with 1. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.